All right, so in this video, I want to go over a lot of strange posts and what it could possibly mean, as they might allude to some comms that President Trump and many of the white hats are trying to communicate to us regarding the interpretation of what's going on in this time, as it's different than what's being shown at face value. So let's look at some of these posts, get into it, and talk a little bit about some commentary as I also read some other people's comments and posts. So let's get into it. All right, so we all know President Trump is a meme poster. He teases and he also gives clues in the midst of all this. So look at some of these posts here. He says, "No more Mr. Nice Guy." He has a little bit of an offensive posture going on. He also is continually talking down on some of the previous administrations, Obama and Biden to be exact, among other ones of the past. But the focus here, again, is Obama. And recently, President Trump reposted something that I believe I remember back in June. And I looked this up, and there's some other posters that have talked about this. But look at what he says here. He says, "D Trump 18 and BH Obama 18. This is posted August 26, 2026. Now, he posted something similar back June 27th, 2026, 2 months ago. But this time, he posted from the change of his age from 20 to 18. So D Trump 20 and BH Obama 18. Now look at the difference side by side, just that word 20. Now what's interesting about this is that this same post comes from the Q board. This is back May 11th, 2020. So this is how we know some of these drops, these comms, the validity of what Q posts. So he posted this picture from back then, but here it shows D Trump 20, but for Barack Obama it says B Obama 18, not without this H. Now, this analysis comes from a couple of Patriots Anons that do some research, True Stormy Joe, and then gives credit to Rev DQ and Gouda25. But the idea here is that President Trump wants us to focus on the word 18, or the number 18. And what does Q say about this? R is the 18th letter of the alphabet, just like Q is the 17th letter. And that's why we are so focused on 17 being Q and vice versa. And R here equals from post 1277 Renegade. Now, what is Renegade? From a different post, post 4098, Renegade was Barack Obama's Secret Service code name. Now, what does that mean? It means a person who deserts and betrays an organization, country, or set of principles. Synonyms: traitor, defector, deserter, turncoat, rebel, mutineer. Now, this post talks about why did Barack Obama, Hussein Barry, choose Renegade as USS codename to find Renegade. Hussein Barry parents both fluent in Russian. And again, when Q asks these questions, it's insinuating that it is true. Is Russian a common language to learn? No, it is not. Public career history, mom, dad, public career history required Russian language as prerequisite. Farm work takes special skills. Now, this is implying high-level treason, and that's what President Trump has been saying for a very long time. And President Trump had this to post back on Twitter in 2012. This is a long time ago. When I was 18, people called me Donald Trump. When he was 18, Barack Obama was called Barry Soweto. Weird. This was a post he made a long time ago. And so this is where President Trump wants us as Anons to connect the dots. What is he inferring and referring to? Now, Ultra Magadine here had some good commentary where he says that important to note, misspellings matter. Barry Soweto is the misspelling of Barry Sotoro. Even back then in President Trump's tweet below, he used the age of 18 to call out the 18th letter in the alphabet, R, for Renegade. And when you search Barry in the Q post, there's only one post that shows up with that name. And that's what I talked about here. But he points out all signs are pointing to the fact that we're getting close to the end of this show. Let's see what happens next, and if Renegade is the next one to exit the stage. Now remember, these are dog comms. What's interesting here is that August 25, what happened? John McCain, back I think 8 years ago, 2018, died, and he was the code name No Name in Q. Dolly Parton recently died. Tim Curry recently died. Now, the DOD Rapid Response posted this on the 26th. He had a 1-minute 4-second video where he presented the Commendation Medal with V device for valor for Corporal Michael Grenson. So take a look at this. Dean points out here that this post possibly represents the post Q104 and also 1649, where in that video attached was showing the presentation of the medal to Corporal Gretchen with his dog in the picture, which happens to be National Dog Day, which was yesterday or the other day here at the time of this video, with a timestamp, again, of 4:49 p.m. This 4:49, of course, is Eastern time, so that correlates to that post. And post 1649 here says, think Supreme Court vote to confirm coming. No name action. Every dog has its day. Enjoy the show. So this is giving attention to John McCain, who was also, and again, I don't have time to go through the whole detail of it, but we are inferring that no name refers to John McCain here, but he, with this calm showing obviously a dog and no name action, all of this. And Pete Hegseth, it's National Dog Day. Now is the time to pray. We're operational and every dog has to stay. Enjoy the show. And remember, post 104, possibly referring to being operational. Now is the time to pray. We're operational. God bless the United States of America. Now, again, what's interesting here is that because it's alluding to the fact that they're operational and also that there possibly could be more people to die unexpectedly in the next few days, because what have we seen? A reminder to not only people that have been famous that passed away, but others like John McCain having passed in the past. And again, reading more commentary here from Torch, he says that Lindsey Graham's daughter, Darlene Graham, won her primary on August 25th, the anniversary of John McCain's death, the same day Dolly Parton and Tim Curry died. And I'm not going to go too much into the depths of this post here, but again, President Trump also posted this through the White House, Happy National Dog Day. Beagles are safe under President Trump. This was an official post. And speaking a little bit about the war and what's going on with Canada, I spoke on a video yesterday here from Awakened Outlaws on commentary. The piling on is a story, in my opinion, it's both deliberate and widespread. It seems to come out of nowhere. So hear me out. What if this is bigger than Canada? What if the dust up with the Canuck knuckleheads is really about taking shots at who's pulling their strings? Think City of London, etc., or in other words, the globalist cabal itself. What if we're poking the bear through its proxies because we're going on the offensive? Feels like something has shifted, and the urgent nature of the escalation and dialogue here is odd enough to warrant closer scrutiny. Now, what's interesting is I want to take a look at some commentary from the people in this post here, but people thinking this is not a trade war between U.S. and Canada at all. Truth Roar says, assuming the Windsor state visit in the spring was the Crown's official capitulation, the Commonwealth would have been included. However, if the EU is trying to poach Canada as a backdoor to U.S. resources, Finger Lake tunnels, etc., we talked about that yesterday, we need to be in charge big time. Canada, as a 51st state, would make life in Greenland so much simpler. And then this commenter saying, I think it's about China and how they decree that the world can't make maps that say Taiwan is an independent country when the maps have to say that Taiwan is China. Therefore, we now have a Gulf of America and a Lake America. That's what the maps say. I think it's pretty funny. And then somebody asking, what do you think of the connection between Lake America, formerly Ontario, Fingers Lake, and the New York Amish community have, if any? I'm asking because New York is currently going hard against the Amish about vaccinations. They have said they will move if forced to. And then Anne-Marie, I totally agree. This is all about the power shift in our hemisphere. Monroe Doctrine. Remember, Canada has been playing footsie with China, even allowing their military into their country not far from our border. So very interesting. Right now, we're seeing a lot of rhetoric, a lot of poking of the bear, a lot of things amping up. So let's see what happens over the next couple of weeks here. But it's very interesting that some of the comms and the relationships that people are finding, if at all, have any relevance to what's happening behind the scenes. Let's see what happens. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.